I'm going to preview the number 13 Baylor at number 4 Kansas men's basketball game. And Kansas so far is 18-5 overall, 6-4 in the Big 12, and Baylor is 6-3 in the Big 12, and 17-5 overall. And the game will be played on February 10th at 5 p.m. Central Time on ESPN, where College Game Day is going to be at. And Kansas is coming off of a loss to Kansas State after they beat Houston, a top 10 Houston team at that. So now I'm going to go over some players to keep an eye on for Kansas, and I'll put that in the description below so y'all can see it. The leading scorer for Kansas is Kevin McCullough, number 15, 6'7", 212-pound guard. That's a senior. 19.5 points per game, 35 for 97 on threes, 111 for 138 on free throws, 6.4 rebounds per game, 4.6 assists per game, 2.6 turnovers per game, 1.5 steals per game, 1.9 fouls per game. Now, Hunter Dickinson, that transfer from Michigan, is the next guy to keep an eye on. Number 1, 7'2", 260-pound center. That's a senior. 18.9 points per game, 17 for 48 on three, so he can shoot three. So gotta get on him, guys. 49 for 67 on free throws, 11.1 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, 1.9 steals per game, 1.3 blocks per game, 2.1 fouls per game. Then there's KJ Adams. He's like the power forward for this team. And number 24, 6'7", 235-pound forward. That's a junior. 12.7 points per game, 0 for 2 on 3. So don't expect him to shoot the ball from downtown. 49 for 81 on free throws. That's his kryptonite. Easy on offense. 4.6 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, 1.9 turnovers per game, 1.2 steals per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 2.5 fouls per game. Then there's Johnny Furphy, number 10, 6'9", 202-pound guard. That's a freshman. 8.3 points per game. 32 for 79 on threes, 23 for 34 on free throws, 4 rebounds per game, 2.2 fouls per game. Then there's Dejon Harris Jr., number 3, 6'2", 270-pound guard. That's a senior. 7.7 points per game, 22 for 49 on threes, 23 for 30 on free throws, 2 rebounds per game, 6.7 assists per game, 6.7, yeah. 2.3 turnovers per game, 1.6 steals per game, 1.6 fouls per game. And there's El Marco Jackson, number 13, 6'3", 195-pound guard. That's a freshman, 4.5 points per game, 10 for 33 on threes, 25 for 29 on free throws, 2 assists per game, 1.4 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, 2 fouls per game. And there's Nicholas Timberlake, number 25, 6'4", 195-pound guard. That's a senior, 3.4 points per game, 14 for 53 on threes, 9 for 13 on free throws, and 1 foul per game. He was expected to do more for Kansas as a transfer than he has done so far. I'm going to just say that up front, is when you look at the prior numbers for him. I'm not going to mention Michael Jankovic on this. He doesn't play. He only played last game because, look, if there was a court storm, Bill Self got him out there for that. And he said that as much. Then there's Parker Braun, Braun. So number 23, 6'10", 235-pound forward. That's a senior. 2.5 points per game. 3 for 7 on threes. 6 for 8 on free throws. 2 rebounds per game. 7.7 blocks per game. 1 foul per game. And there's Jamari McDowell, number 11, 6'4", 180-pound guard. That's a freshman. 1.6 points per game, 6 for 22 on threes, 11 for 13 on free throws. And the last player I'm going to mention, I believe he played last game for Kansas, but let me check real fast, y'all. And I apologize if I'm looking down. I cannot memorize every stat there. I mean, it's the truth. Yeah, because Wilder Evers did not play last game. Okay, I'm not going to mention him, but y'all could read it in the description below. Like I said, when I said I will put the outlook on Kansas men's basketball in the description below. And I'm going to also say about Kansas, the last 4 games off the bench for them, 4 for 15 shooting. Yeah, not that great. I mean, that's the truth. And they only had 2 bench points last game against Kansas State on 1 for 3 shooting, including a missed 3-pointer. So, yeah, they're not that deep of it. That's their problem for Kansas is the bench. To be honest, that is the big problem. And I'm going to also say I do not know the status on Langston Love ahead of time for Baylor. As we all know, he came off the court late in the game and he was hobbling. Landed on his ankle funny or something. Either way, it's somewhere on his, it's a lower body injury. Ankle, it could be a knee, I don't, probably one of those two, but we're gonna have to wait and see on the status. I'm just saying that up front. Across the board, get them in foul trouble, especially their big in Hunter Dickinson, KJ. Get them in foul trouble. They rely on their starters a bunch. If you could get like a Johnny Furphy in foul trouble, I know he's not as good as Hunter Dickinson, and obviously you want Hunter Dickinson and KJ Adams to get foul trouble too, and even Kevin McCullough. Get those guys in foul trouble. I'm just telling the truth. And of course, you want to not be in foul trouble as much as possible. And you don't know how the officiating is going to go because it could be questionable at times. And I'm especially saying that since it is in Lawrence, Kansas, and Kansas is coming off of a loss here to Kansas State, at Kansas State at that. So, yeah. But you got to be mentally tough and not just physically tough. And you got to be the tougher team out there. And you can't get intimidated by their jersey saying Kansas. I'm just saying that. It's the truth. And you got to respond every time when Kansas gets on the run. Try to respond back. I mean, and you got to make adjustments on the fly, both offense and defense, throughout the game. I'm not talking about first half to second half either. I'm talking about possession by possession, and not just timeout to timeout. I mean, obviously timeout to timeout would be is good too. I'm just saying I would prefer one possession than the next possession. Well, and defensively, you might want to go zone defense here. You might want to, but I wouldn't be shocked with man either. Either way, you got to find out which defense is going to be the most effective in this game and get them out of rhythm. I mean, I'm just telling the truth about that right now. Get them out of rhythm. Force turnovers. Of course, you want to limit your points off turnovers. And the second chance points, you got to limit those. You got to limit the points in the paint as much as possible. And contain the shooters, contain the slashers. And I do not want to rely on officials calling stuff. So got to go make some plays, and you got to out hustle them, and across the board too. That's not just on offense, but it's across the board on hustling, and you got to come out with energy. Kansas is going to be fired up to play at home. After all, they are coming off of a loss, and ticked off at that. I'm just saying. I'm just telling the truth. In all this. And you got to play this game with nothing to lose here. What do I mean by that? Probably not a lot of people think Baylor's going to beat Kansas at Kansas. It has been done before. First of all, it has been done. 2, no matter what, we're going to be in the top 20. If possibly in the top 15. In the next poll. And I know we don't care about the poll necessarily, but you get the whole point. And the worst case scenario is if Kansas beats us, We're still tied with them at the worst. And yes, they own the head-to-head edge, but you get the whole point. And obviously, best case scenario, we're still ahead of Kansas, and Kansas is going to get their fifth conference loss. I'm just telling the truth. You got to get some rebounds on defense. You got to box out, and you can't not let them live at the free throw line either. You don't want to give them that many attempts. And I know it all depends about the officiating, which we know all about that. I mean, it's the truth. And you got to make adjustments to the calls and how they call the game. And obviously, you don't want a flagrant foul or a technical foul across the board as well. So, if you make a mistake defensively and they score, you got to put that behind you and look forward to the next play. On offense, obviously, we don't want to have like illegal screens up on. We need to work on that anyway. And I also would say take care of the ball and get some points off turnovers, because sometimes your best offense comes here from your defense, and you got to get some transition points. Of course, you want to limit those transition points for Kansas. Kansas as well. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. And get them to hard start selection when you're on defense, and get good selection on offense. I know we didn't have a great first half. We were missing close shots and good looks against Texas Tech. Hopefully they go down in this game. I hope so. And I know Jacoby Walter's been struggling in the last 4 games since that Texas game. Hopefully he gets back to that. But if nothing else, he's going to just do all the other stuff well, and I mean do as much as he can to help the team. And that's the truth. Obviously, you want to try to get to the free throw line some, and you got to make your free throws count too. I mean, kind of like you did against Texas Tech. And East Missy did pretty good at free throws if you look at the numbers for her last game. That helps if you make free throws. It really does. Of course, you gotta make some threes. You gotta get some points in the paint. You gotta do more better job on second chance points. So that's kind of what we didn't do so good against Texas Tech, despite all those rebounds. We just didn't convert enough second chance points. Get second chance points, and obviously we want more second chance points than Kansas. It's as much as possible. I mean, that's the truth. And if nothing else, just drive to the basket. Just drive. If your shot's not going, drive to the basket. I mean, it's the truth. And get to the rim. And try to convert. And you got to make shots through contact. And you cannot just say, okay, there's a little bit of contact. I'm going for a shot. And I missed it. And there's no foul call. You got to find a way to make shots, even with the contact. I'm just telling the truth in all this. And we got to be fired up and ready to go. And I know College Game Day is going to be there, so we got to try to ruin that for Kansas going into this game. I'm just telling the truth about it. Let's try to do that. And I would also say, if Langston Love gets to play, he needs to step up off the bench. Josh Ujuwuna as well, which he definitely is needed to slow down Hunter Dickinson, which I know he didn't do so good against that Duke big guy before, and it's similar, but you get the whole point. He needs to be ready for Hunter Dickinson in this game, and luckily he's Missy. I think he can handle him, and it would be helpful. And Caleb Lohner just needs to do his role. He doesn't have to shoot the ball to be effective. He needs to just rebound and defend. And honestly, if he's near the rim and wide open or near the rim, period, go up with the shot. If the shot's not there, kick it out. I mean, obviously you want to limit your turnovers and as much as possible on offense, and you don't want to have like live ball turnovers either, because they'll go out and run. But still, you don't. And Jonathan Chama, if he gets to play, he needs to just does his role. Mirror Little, I know he's going to probably play in a pinch, and he might be playing more in this game if there's no Langston Love. I'm just telling the truth here. I mean, and honestly, Jalen Bridges needs to step up, which he could do his role. He could score the ball and rebound and defend. That would be really helpful, and I think he's going to be the guy to guard KJ Adams. I really do, and he's Missy Oshley will try to defend Hunter Dickinson as much as possible, and Jay Nunn needs to step up, which he has been huge in the last few games. When you look at the numbers, and just telling the truth, and hopefully Jacoby Walter, like I said, gets out of that shooting slump. It's all about rhythm, and if nothing else, he could just do all the other stuff well and have other players step up for him. I mean, Jacoby Walter could defend. I mean, that's all he needs to do and rebound, if nothing else. And Ray J. Dennis definitely needs to step up, especially being a senior leader. I mean, a fifth-year senior. And I know might be the best environment that he has ever been in. The hardest one at that. In terms of a college player in a road environment at that. But he needs to step up both offense and defense, I would dare to say. And he did pretty good the last game against Texas Tech, as we all know. And we all know we want to limit their bench points for Kansas, which I don't think that should be an issue. I don't think it should be. Obviously, if Langston Love gets to play, he'll be huge off the bench and try to speed. I would try to. You don't want to go too fast for your own good on offense and turn the ball over. I mean, like a live ball turnover at that, or just taking a bad shot. I would try to wear down this Kansas team because they don't have a lot of depth. And if he could get them in foul trouble, that would really be helpful in this game. And play with your hair on fire. Figuratively speaking, though. Not literally. I mean, the truth is, worst case scenario, you're tied with Kansas in the conference. Best case scenario, you're absolutely still in first place. I mean, that's the truth. Or in terms of the lost column, you're still right there in the top 3. I mean, with Houston and Iowa State. And of course, we just need to go out there, make adjustments on the fly, and play with nothing to lose. Because worst case scenario, because we are in a conference race to try to get at least a share of it. I don't know about outright at this point, because you know how competitive this Big 12 basketball is on the men's side. So, honestly, I would not be opposed to getting an outright outright title, but I just know that's going to be really difficult in this conference in men's basketball. So, let's go out there and do what we can and go to work against Kansas. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later. On the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So remember out this course, liking the video, comment the video really helps YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. Sharing the videos help as well so more people can watch. If you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button. It's free to notification bell as well. And I get Kansas coming off of a loss, but you could beat Kansas I know not a lot of teams have beat Kansas at Kansas, but it has been done. And they have lost back-to-back games in the past. So, we'll just see what happens.